This is the left clavicle, and I'm about to tell you why. First, I need to point out that this video is a sequel to my original video on the clavicle, and it's made with the purpose of establishing orientation, not with the purpose of identifying the bony landmarks like in the original video. Therefore, to get the best out of your time, I recommend watching both. Now let's get straight to it. When orienting the clavicle, using the bony landmarks in anatomical geography is key. The superior surface of either clavicle is smooth without any distinct anatomical landmarks. The inferior surface is roughened and is where the subclavian groove, trapezoid line, and conoid tubercle lie. The trapezoid line is anterior to the conoid tubercle, helping us understand how this conoid tubercle is not just inferior but posterior as well, and that will help with the orientation. The sternal end of the clavicle is rounder and articulates with the manubrium of the sternum, which is a midline structure. Therefore, the sternal end faces medially. The acromial end is broader and flatter and articulates with the acromion process of the scapula laterally. If we think about this orientation a little further, this is the acromion process of the scapula, and it sits superior to the glenohumeral joint, which is a ball and socket type synovial diarthrodial joint formed by the articulation of that glenoid cavity on the scapula and the humeral head of the humerus. This gives us a logical backing as to why the lateral end of the clavicle would be flatter to allow more room for that humeral head to move around. Now that we know the sternal end is rounder and faces medially, the lateral end is broader and flatter and faces laterally, the superior surface is smooth and the inferior surface is roughened, and that conoid tubercle is an inferior-posterior structure, we can see how this is the anterior surface of the clavicle and this is the posterior surface of the clavicle. To reinforce this, take your left index and middle fingers and put them in the space between your two collarbones. Now, as you move them towards the left, you'll feel how your collarbone, aka your clavicle, first bows out anteriorly, making it easier to feel the closer to midline you are, before it bows posteriorly as it nears the acromial end, making it harder to feel the further lateral you are. This helps us reinforce that this is the anterior and this is the posterior aspect of the clavicle, helping us validate that this is a left clavicle.